I'm Alexa. This is my channel, Real Life Alexa, and today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. From WebMD, imposter syndrome is when you doubt your own skills and successes. You feel you're not as talented or worthy as others believe, and you're scared that one day people will realize that. It's not a mental health diagnosis, but it can cause real harm in different areas of our lives. I have seen various information on imposter syndrome in terms of numbers, and at one point it was thought to be pretty much exclusive to women, and that's not true. Men can suffer it too, although we do see a lot of women suffering it. And the estimates that I see these days, they're saying about 20 to 30% of high performers suffer from imposter syndrome. So, imposter syndrome, we can all feel like if someone gives us a compliment, we might be like, oh, wow, I tricked them. They don't know that I am not that good. We can all feel that kind of thought and feeling every so often. What pushes it into a syndrome is consistently over time, where it's now negatively affecting your life. For example, you might think you're not good enough, so you don't pursue promotions or other opportunities. You may hang back on doing things like maybe you want to start your own business, and you talk yourself out of those things. So similar to we can all feel sadness, we can all feel anxiety. What pushes those things into clinical depression or generalized anxiety disorder is the consistency over a long period of time with which you are feeling those thoughts and how they then impact your day-to-day life. So with imposter syndrome, I have certainly struggled with it. I definitely felt it a lot more when I was younger and was working through a lot of the traumas from my childhood. There are multiple reasons or factors that go into why a person might develop imposter syndrome. A lot of it has to do with as a child, and then this is my understanding of it. So please, there's lots of resources out there if you're interested, look up more. But a lot of it is to do with the environment as you're growing up and you're forming your self-worth, and whether you are in an environment that supports you and encourages you to believe in yourself versus an environment that kind of, no matter how well you do something, you never did it quite good enough, right? Just wasn't good. You're not as good as the people around you. And that kind of feedback from the people around you, whether it's your immediate family, whether your social group, whether your teachers, so on, right? Like the people that you're with in your formative years. The treatment for it is, there's no one size fits all for it. To me, I love a good Venn diagram, and one of them was facts was one circle, and then the other circle was facts that support your belief or your bias was the other, and there you are in the middle. So there's a whole lot of facts out there that we can dismiss when we're thinking anything, right? Whatever, it's called confirmation bias. You see what you want to see in the data. And one of the ways that I have sort of approached my own healing journey from trauma, and this is not just from imposter syndrome, but it's really to ask myself, what is actually the fact right now? What is true? Not an emotion. I don't want to know how I feel about that fact. I want to know what the fact is. And when I started building up those facts, and this worked for me, I don't know, if it works for everyone or not. Everyone is different, but I force myself to say, whenever I have a thought, is that true? Is that an emotion? Is that a belief that isn't supported by the facts that I know? What is this? What is it? Look at it plainly and clearly. Don't ascribe good or bad to anything. Just look at it and accept it in a rational way that these are the facts. The temperature today was 80 degrees. I was outside for an hour. It was hot. I was sweating. I didn't have water. I got tired quickly, right? It wasn't, oh, I didn't do enough yard work today and clean up my garden plot. My garden plot is overgrown, so I've been feeling kind of not good about that. I've been looking at some of the other ones that are out there. We had so much rain, and the times that I was able to kind of go up there, most of the time it was raining, or it started getting really dark, and well, not really dark, but dark enough that the bugs were out in force, because it was more like 6, 7 o'clock at night that I had time to go up there. And listen, those weeds have taken over. So I went up there today and I was working on it because I was like, I'm not going to give up. I've still got several months left. And even though other people have nicer plots, even though they have different vegetables that they've grown, that were veggies I didn't want to grow, I felt like an imposter. Like, why am I even doing this when I can't keep the weeds under control? But that's not a fact. That's a feeling. So I looked at the facts and I said, wow, I just did almost an hour worth of work. I've got a whole half of it cleaned up to where, it's sort of manageable again. And I have the rest of the week to work on it. Like, it doesn't have to be done today. So the facts are not, I'm not perfect, so therefore I'm a failure. The facts are, I've done the best I can in the days I've had when it wasn't raining with the tools I had. I actually went to Home Depot and bought a pair of head shears because I didn't have anything to really cut down the weeds once they got to a certain size. So you have to look at the facts and you have to challenge those thoughts that are negative. And that's just a really sort of very small example. That's not really necessarily imposter syndrome, though I think it kind of counts that there's some gardeners out there who are obviously well versed. They've done gardening for years. Their plots look immaculate, So I think you can feel it in that way, and it's a good enough example. But I use that same technique with everything. With my anxiety, I will do it with that. What is the reality? What's the best that can happen? What's the worst can happen? And now what's most likely to happen? Because a lot of the time it's going to be somewhere in the middle. And I think that this clear focus on provable facts for me has really helped me then tame the amygdala and the emotions and let me sort of focus on those facts. It's a journey, as everything is in life, and the pendulum can swing back and forth. I definitely have days where I wonder why I'm in a room, in a conversation, why I'm being included. I'm like, what did I do to get here? And then I stop and I say, well, I did this and that and the other, and I finished that project and I got this, and I these are facts that I did this work and that I have this knowledge, that I have certain subject matter expertise, right? So having that, forcing myself to face those things sort of clearly has been my personal way of overcoming certain imposter syndrome feelings. Not going to say it's going to go away forever. Like I said, it's a journey. It can come back, and I hope not, but it could. Something could go wrong. You can make a mistake, and you let yourself go down a sort of rabbit hole. What I was finding interesting today as I was sort of looking for some sources to share in the description is that they're classifying it into, I guess, 5 different categories. And so this is from Mind Journal, and they have the perfectionist, the superhero, the expert, the natural genius, and the soloist. So the perfectionist is pretty much self-explanatory. So I don't know why they have the natural genius in this one. The other 4, the title sort of applies to the person suffering the imposter syndrome. And my understanding of the natural genius is more the opposite. But I'll get to that in a moment. So the perfectionist, unrealistically high goals, never happy with how far we're able to get towards them. We're not perfect, and therefore we're not good enough. I am absolutely and have a recovering perfectionist, and I will be a recovering perfectionist probably for the rest of my life. I, while I was in school I did an MBA. I read Sheryl Sandberg's book, and the quote, "Done is better than perfect," sort of hit me in the face. And I have told myself that over and over again in multiple times, situations since then. So, yes, perfectionist is something that I absolutely can relate to when it comes to imposter syndrome. I do think you can kind of have more than traits that cover more than one of these. So the superhero, they define this as people feeling that they must excel in all of the different roles they play in their life. So we think about uh, let's think about the stereotypical supermom image who's works full time, still takes care of the kids, keeps the house immaculate, volunteers, has hobbies, has time for everything. It's impossible. It's not possible to be as good in every single facet of your life. And even if you're not a mom or a parent, you can't be perfect in every single aspect of your life. You're a novice in certain things if you're just picking them up. You only have so much energy, so much time in a day, right? You have to be able to balance. Done is better than perfect. You have to be able to. But I think that the perfectionist is very closely related to the superhero, because it doesn't matter what you're doing, you need to be perfect. So the third one is the expert, and this one is defined as being always hungry to learn more about the field of expertise in order to maintain the position as an expert. So really pushing yourself to constantly learn new materials, stay ahead of the game, stay up to date, make sure that you are always telling the best information at the right time. I'm going to skip the natural genius and just go to the soloist for now. So the soloists, they say they love to work alone, as self-worth is tied to their own ability and productivity. So for me, I take very great pride in my work, in what I am able to do, what I'm able to accomplish, how I'm able to maintain quality and quantity in what I do and how I do it, how I'm able to think outside the box, how I'm able to connect different teams. I'm very interested in mental discussions, challenges, learning new things. I love to learn, which kind of ties back into the expert, but it's much more broad for me. I just love to learn a lot of things. But knowing that my worth is tied to my job, my self-worth, when you're in a team, if we think about when you're in college and you have a group project, or at work and have a group project, what are the stereotypes of the people in the group? There's always someone who does 90% of the work. There's someone who does a little bit and then gives up. There's someone who doesn't show up for anything except the grade at the end. These are the stereotypes, right? And I know for myself, I can think back on a couple of projects in college where I was just, y'all are not going to get me a C in this. I'm getting an A, and that's it. Like, I don't care what you do or how you do it. You are not screwing up my grade for me. And so to me, I can sort of relate to this idea of being a soloist and wanting to make sure because you can't control other people and you can't control their quality of work. You can try and guide them. You can hope you get someone who's, as intent on getting a good grade as you are. And I say grade thinking about college, but I mean, you can translate this into work, right? You could, in the workplace, you want someone who does the same quality as you. So I can definitely sort of see each of these, characteristics. But I see them all overlapping. I don't see them as separate. Now, the natural genius, this says these people think intelligence must be inherent. And so while the other four were about oh, I need to be perfect and I need to be a superhero who juggles all the balls in the air and doesn't drop anything. I need to be the one who, I can't let anyone else do this because I don't want them to screw it up, so I can feel good that my work was good. Like, I need to keep learning. This natural genius thing, to me, it almost sounds more like other people are so smart and they were born with it, and I have to try hard and I have to put a lot of effort in, so therefore I'm not as good as them because they were born with it. And so I feel like just reading this through and talking it out loud, I feel like there might be another way of saying that, where it's more about the person who is feeling like an imposter, uh, and feeling like they might be found out. Then to me, it feels like that label is more about labeling other people. Uh, I find it fascinating. I do think that the societal cues that we all uh, internalize as we grow up, they are different between different cultures, and there has been change over the course of my lifetime. There's been a lot of change, and I think there's a lot of light being shed on various mental issues and mental health that I think this falls under, even if it's not an official diagnosis or disorder in the DSM, which is the diagnostic manual that categorizes everything from anxiety and so on, mental disorders. Uh, yeah, I think that this is exciting to see it more widely understood, studied, to have resources out there, to see other people talking about it and know that, you're not alone if that's how you feel. And there's a way to come back from it and a way to move through it and really sort of give yourself a little bit better quality of internal thoughts and life as you live it. I think that's about all I got for today. It's such an interesting topic, but I'm talking from, personal experience and personal point of view. I don't claim to be an expert on this. I think that if you have any issues, find someone to talk to, someone you trust, whose opinion you trust. Uh, Maybe a therapist, always a good place. And as a very quick hello, we have a little cat. Hi. Oh, you're trying to run away because mom's in the middle of a video? Hi. Are you okay? No, you're not okay? Oh, okay. He's okay. He's just a little camera shy tonight, I think. Well, if you made it this far, thank you so much. And as always, if you have any thoughts, drop a comment, like, subscribe, share the video, and yeah, let me know what you think. I will see you in a few days.